Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Bodybuilding Motion. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about a mistake that I made when I was let's just say intermediate bodybuilder back when I was 18, 19, 20 years old. You know, I'd already been training since I was 14 and on and off since I was 13. And you know, the first time I ever lifted weights was when I was 5 and 6. And then my dad would take me in the garage once in a while when I was 10 to do some bench presses and stuff. So I was acclimated to the weight training thing throughout my entire life. It was like I was initiated, right? But one mistake that I made, and this is because I related weight training with strength, is that I would assume that all exercises had to be performed with strength in mind, meaning the only way to get strength is to use super heavy rep ranges, such as 4 to 8 reps or 8 to 12 reps and so forth. But what started to happen was that I noticed when I was doing bench presses or bent over rows or squats that I could perform rep ranges of 5 to 10 reps, no problem. Of course, I'd have to recover and so forth, but there wasn't a real problem with that. But when I started to apply this principle to other exercises, such as skull crushers, I started to have an unbelievable amount of bad pain. Right? Inflammation of the elbows, or almost like a tearing kind of pulling sensation. And I started to get even inflammation where I get bursitis in the elbows, right? So it's almost like it would swell up a bit. I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird. So the first mistake I made was that I was saying, oh, okay, well, I guess skull crushers are just a bad exercise, so I'm going to discard them, right? So I just stuck to press downs and then close grip bench because my ego liked that, because I could use heavier weights and heavier rep ranges with those exercises. But what I started to realize after a while, when I would go back to skull crushers from time to time, because I'd always have a training partner that you train with, you know, I train with a few training partners from time to time, and they'd like skull crushers and they'd go right to the skull crusher for triceps. That was like their go-to move, that and close grip or press downs. So what would happen is that I do skull crushers, and just to make my training partner happy, I'd do them with them, but I would do them with a lighter weight. And of course, once I started doing them with a lighter weight, I started to get results. I started to feel a great pump, but no elbow pain. So because of this, I started to realize that, hey, this is just an exercise that I shouldn't be doing 5 rep sets with, just like leg extension. Doing 5 rep sets or 8 rep sets is just not a good idea with leg extensions for most people. Most people, that's just gonna flare up their knees and cause all sorts of problems. So this was exactly the same thing that I realized when it came down to skull crushers. So my major mistake was that I assumed that all exercises had the same rules, meaning all of them could be performed with certain rep ranges. And once you realize that you can gain muscle at different rep ranges, and some exercises are so intense on the muscle and the tendons that you don't need to go to a 5 rep set or a 6 rep set, you start to strategically use exercises in a proper way instead of just applying a one-size-fits-all method to all of them. So if you're noticing that you're using a heavy weight and a certain exercise is not agreeing with you, again, I'm going to say this, just lighten the weight in that exercise for a period of time, do high reps with it and see if it works. Maybe it still doesn't work for you. Maybe it still doesn't, and then I'd say, okay, just discard it. But if you use super lightweight and then slowly work your way up over time, you may notice that the exercise becomes better for you. And the exercise is only a problem once you start working into certain rep ranges, right? So there's some exercises that you just can never do 5 or 6 reps with or 10 reps with because it's just too awkward for your body. So there's nothing wrong with getting stronger in 20 rep sets or 15 rep sets or 30 rep sets. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. And you're gonna notice you get a lot of good results in that.
This video is sponsored by the Benchpress.
Do you find yourself with too big of an ass? Well, I've got the solution to you. This exclusive item also offers another benefit, and it's called ass sanding. Just rub your ass up and down on this rock for about 4 hours a day, and I guarantee your ass will be diminished significantly. The benefits just keep coming. One question that was asked to me on Patreon by this one guy is that he said that he does 5 sets of about 20 reps with a certain weight, and then he just puts on a rep or two every few workouts. And then once he starts to notice that his reps have gone up, then he just increases the weight a little bit so that he can get 5 sets of 20. There's nothing wrong with that approach. That is a very legitimate approach to gaining muscle because you're still in the anaerobic window at 20 reps. If you're getting 20 reps, you're still under a minute and a half in your set, if not under a minute, depending on how fast your reps are. Some people can do 20 reps in 30 seconds. It depends on the speed of your reps and whatever you feel works for you. But the bottom line is doing 20 rep sets is a very anabolic window still to put on muscle and strength. Now, one could say you're leaning towards strength endurance, but it's still a very legitimate way of putting on muscle and keeping yourself in one piece. So feel free, just be free and experiment with these different principles and find out what you're getting the best results with right now. But my major mistake was that I was a little bit too dogmatic. I was too programmed into the fact that, oh, I got to do 5 reps or 7 reps in order to put on strength. It's not true at all. You can put on strength at 15 reps, 20 reps, even 30 reps if you're increasing in weight. One could argue you might not have the coordination that's perfected for the 1 rep set, but you still are putting on some measure of strength at those rep ranges, and you will be able to put on muscle, 100%. So I hope this helps you out in your training. Thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalbodybuilding.com, and thanks to the Patreon supporters, and take care for now.
Mountain. Natural land.